Welcome back to the Corhazi Outlook, a grand archive TCG podcast centered around tournament results and competitive metagame analysis.
We're here to provide a glimpse into what's being played at larger tournaments and help you prepare for your next big event.
This is episode 29. I am Ken, also known as Chromatic. With me, as always, is Aubrey, also known as Jim the Eternal.
How's it going?
And today is our third episode diving into the National 2026 season, this time taking a run into Oceania and seeing all the new developments that may go down under.
I'm pretty psyched. There's been 2 nationals so far.
Yeah.
So now we're taking a look at the third. And of course, we still have OCE Nats coming up after this.
Yeah, that one's going to be a really big one. I think we're going to see probably a lot of interesting things coming out of that. But Oceania honestly had a lot to offer here. We had a couple rising stars, a couple known famous names in the community sort of rise back up and sort of assert themselves. So a lot of fun stuff to talk about here.
Absolutely.
But before we get into that, Jim, I know typically I like to ask you and put you on the spot about what you've been doing.
I have an answer for that this time.
Okay, but before you give me that answer,
right,
I'm going to wrest control and talk about something that I've been up to.
Oh God, my opportunity.
Oh no, which is store champs. Local store champs in our area have come and gone, and I think there's maybe 1, maybe 2 local store champs remaining, but I had the opportunity to play a full weekend of store champs. I was scheduled to judge 2 store champs in a row, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, but I had a little bit of help, as it turns out. Local judge Vyosmic, who has judged a number of ascents, and also
local air quotes.
Local air quotes. The what is it? The extended family, shall we say?
Sure.
Yeah. But has judged a bunch of ascents and nationals, most recently in Vegas. So offered to judge this one, which left me an opportunity to play. Nice. So I got to sleeve up my good old Wind Rye and take that for a spin. This is in no way an intent for me to glaze myself, because my run in store champs was decidedly very mediocre. I had a very solid 50% win rate throughout the entire weekend.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Wind Rye was ultimately a net positive. I had a lot of fun. I got to try a bunch of the new cards. I can say with confidence that Ionized Asceticism is a pretty good card.
Nice.
It turns out when you've spent your entire hand trying to combo off and you are out of cards and you pop some enlightened counters, you top deck at Ionized Asceticism, drawing 7 is pretty nice.
Yeah, I've heard Wheel of Fortune is a strong card.
Yeah, so I can definitely recommend that to anyone who just wants to go blasting all the way through. So that event was ultimately won by Duck Hats, our Duck Hats. So
Local hero Duck Hats.
Local hero and celebrity Duck Hats. So we had that happen, and then the following day I was like, all right, I've had my fun. I'm going to judge the next one. So I sit down, get ready. I'm helping set up, and Duck Hats, he walks into the store. He's like, hey, do you mind if I judge? And I was like, would you like to judge? He's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, man, you got it. And he's like, do you want to play Wind Crux? And I was like, oh boy, you bet I do. So he pulls out his deck box, the same one that he pulled out the previous day, and just hands it to me. And let me tell you, the amount of mental damage that happens when you materialize Gwendolyn, Spirit of Wind, that does not belong to you, is quite potent. Unfortunately, the mental damage, I think, was symmetrical, because in my first round, I was playing against Tycoon, the eventual winner of that store champ, and we were both kind of hysterical because he had been beaten by Duck Hats the day before. So he was just terrified when he saw the Gwendolyn. And unfortunately, because we were both laughing so hard, I forgot to pull out the looking glass in my first game. So that kind of set the stage for the rest of the day. So I'm not Duck Hats. I didn't do clearly as well on the deck as he did, which really just to show you, it's not just the deck. It's the player that makes the deck as well.
The pilot is always important.
He could have handed me a ham sandwich, and I would have eaten it rather than beaten everyone with it. So that just goes to show just a lot of the love and just effort that people put in this game, and just the amount of skill expression that you can see. But I still had a good time. I saw a lot of good ideas. I have some interesting things that I want to try in that field. But it also kind of really helped inform me, because I think that Wind Crux has been very popular, has been kind of on the up, and we might see a lot of that going into this event that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we just might. So this is a fantastic segue, because I think skill expression is really the story of the day today.
Absolutely.
And of course, we'll start talking about the event as we get into it. But first, I do want to ask you, what were you expecting going into this event?
You know, it's interesting, because I feel like things were kind of a bit more stable since the last event that we had in Europe. I think that Europe was a very zoomed in view of the overall metagame, and it sort of highlighted just like what the really good players were. Mainly, Water Aetherwing. Obviously, we had like Seiryu doing pretty well. We had some Genbu doing really well, among other things. A little bit of CL happening here and there. And also just like Windcrux, while not being the most winning deck, also just felt like very popular, and it sort of felt like people were building it and refining it, and so I was expecting sort of that to be kind of a breakout hit.
Yeah,
So,
all right.
yeah.
For my part, I kind of viewed the most recent European Nationals as the popping of the bubble.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people who were kind of all in on Diana Aetherwing
Yes.
in a way that maybe you wouldn't expect. A lot of people picked up this deck that were like, okay, well, I guess I can't play the deck that I'm usually playing, so I'll play this instead.
Right.
And then you have Caben going to the top with Water Allies.
It's true.
And it's kind of
true.
this moment of like, wait, I thought Diana was supposed to win this.
It doesn't work all the time.
And
What happened?
I really think that created this moment of people realizing that you don't need to play Diana. You just need to account for the fact that Diana exists.
Yes.
And my expectations going forward, I mean, definitely expecting some amount of copycats, right? A number of people are going to come into here with Caben's deck card for card.
That's true.
And I'm sure that happened.
We did see that, in fact. It did happen.
I wasn't expecting Water Allies to kind of perform above and beyond at this event the same way that it did at the previous event, unless Caben decided to bring it again.
Spoilers.
But like, I didn't really expect Caben to decide to bring it again. Like, that really felt like a snapshot in time.
Yeah.
Like bringing this because I know what to expect, and as a result of that, the expectations change, right? So definitely expecting a lot of Diana.
Yeah.
Expecting a certain amount of Razor Gale, because Razor Gale is still sort of the boogeyman of the format, in addition to Diana.
Right.
But I was kind of expecting things to even out a little. Like
Right.
maybe people go back to their favorite decks. Maybe the element balance evens out a little. I was wrong on that one.
I mean, yeah, that one seems to be holding pretty strong.
Yeah. But yeah, I was expecting it to open up a little bit, and I was expecting people to do a little bit better against Diana. I think my expectation was still like, yeah, Diana's probably
Like,
going to win.
Diana will still be popular. Diana will
Yeah.
still be seeing appearances.
Yeah, like gun to my head, who was going to win this before the event? I probably would have said somebody on Diana. Either way.
Yeah. It was almost true.
Yeah. I mean, it was possible.
It was very possible.
The potential was there.
There were certainly some nail-biting moments throughout this entire event, if you were there on stream.
Yeah.
So, just talk about it.
Yeah, so let's dive into it. So in terms of the element breakdown, we are actually seeing more wind than we did at EU.
Yeah.
Fire is still kind of suppressed here, right?
Yeah, a bit.
22% of the field were on fire, 40% of the field on water, 36% on wind,
Yeah.
and one token norm deck.
One norm deck. You can't rule out the norm.
There's always one.
Yep.
Which, like, the water absolutely makes sense. In terms of the growth of wind here, I think that reflects people moving a little bit off of Water Aetherwing.
Yeah.
If you remember the percentage from the previous event, 20% of the field was on Water Aetherwing last time.
Yep.
And that number has dropped a bit, down to 15%.
Yeah, which is not a huge drop, but like significant.
Yeah, significant drop. We aren't seeing as much Water Exia.
Yeah, that
We're
one kind of
not
dropped
seeing as much Genbu.
Right.
Definitely still present,
Yeah.
but like not as big a presence in the field. And what is taking their place is primarily Windex.
Yeah. The one thing that surprises me, though, is that the Razor Gale count in this event is rather low.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was honestly a big surprise to me, too.
Yeah.
So many people moving off of Razor Gale when it had such a commanding performance
Yeah.
early on in the meta.
Yeah. But I think you're seeing that void sort of taken up by two main decks. I mean, obviously there's Seiryu, which is, a very popular pick, but also it's the Windcrux decks.
Yeah, Windcrux making a big showing here. One of those decks is sort of came from behind. I don't think we saw that much Windcrux in OCE in EU Nats.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bit of it, but it wasn't really showing up too much in the top tables. I think we had one Windcrux list.
Yeah,
in Day
one
2.
Windcrux list out of 4, totally for the event.
Yeah.
And that changed to 14 Windcrux for the overall, and a much better performance in terms of conversion rate.
Yeah.
Into the top, into day 2.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, we are seeing the water decks, as we expect,
The classic
right?
water decks that we want to typically see.
A decent chunk of water allies,
Yeah.
relatively high amount of Genbu, some amount of water Exia, including the Whirlpool Mill is kind of separated out here.
Yeah, but it's very much like tied to that identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the fire, well, people made a big deal about slimes being back, and I don't know that it's that.
They're around.
They're
you know,
around,
they're doing
yeah.
stuff.
There's a lot of decks that are around, and I think all of them have sort of similar chances.
Yeah.
Like, they just have to be built right for the meta.
Right.
And really easy to build slimes wrong for the meta.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. I mean, I feel like in terms, if you look at sort of more traditional like aggro decks, I feel like those are kind of in lower numbers this time around.
Yeah, not a lot of traditional aggro, not a lot of traditional, like, level 3 fire, right?
Yeah,
the sort of
yeah.
traditional mid-range kind of deck.
Right. It's that's mainly being taken up by Oblation.
Yeah, we have
kind of our
a
biggest
decent amount of
one.
ablation here.
Yeah.
And we also have a little bit of Crux Merlin.
Yeah,
So
there's a bit.
Fire Merlin.
There's a teeny
A
bit.
little bit of that. And then in terms of, like, actual fire aggro, there were 3 Fire Aetherwing decks.
Yeah, barely holding on.
And not much else.
Yeah.
2 Suzakus, a couple of suited decks.
Yep. They're around, but you know,
Not a whole lot.
they've kind of been. It's kind of been toned down a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of people bringing a lot of different decks. And, you know, as I think the rest of this kind of event shows,
Yep.
almost anything can be effective here.
Yeah.
It just has to be built right and be piloted well.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's kind of the direction we're going.
for sure. I mean, we had a lot of really good pilots at this event.
Yeah, so speaking of good pilots, let's
Yeah.
talk about who made it.
Oh yeah.
So day 2, we had 25 people out of 129 making it in.
Okay.
For a fairly average 19.4% conversion rate.
Yeah.
So this is fairly
You know,
normal.
Pretty okay.
Most represented matches up. This is actually, I think, one of the really cool things about this event is while we can't really pull that much out of the statistics because of the small sample size,
right.
the relative numbers match up exceedingly well with the overall presence.
Ooh.
You have to go down to something like Water Exia before
Yeah.
you see a underperformance in terms of conversion.
Yeah. A lot of these decks are good established decks that had very good conversion rates.
And you have to go down to Slimes, which 2 of 4 made it into day 2.
Yes.
In order to see kind of an overperformance in terms of conversion.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're seeing like maybe a slight overperformance for Water Aetherwing.
Yeah, a little higher than average.
6 out of 19, so a 30% conversion rate, which is like a little higher, but not that much higher.
yeah.
Seryu, again, 5 out of 17, so a little bit sort of overperformed, but not much. But this also kind of matches up with the presence in day 1, right? Water Aetherwing, the most popular deck. Seryu, the second most popular deck. The third most popular deck, Wind Crux, also the third most represented deck in day 2.
Yeah.
Right? And this trend continues down, I think, until you hit Slimes. Because you have Water Allies, you have Genbu, you have Water Exia, and then kind of as you get down into like 3 or 4 of the decks showed up at all, you're getting one-ofs showing up in day 2.
Yeah.
And all of this kind of matches up really well with the decks that showed up for day 1,
Absolutely.
which really says that there is no boogeyman for this format.
Yeah, I mean, it's all very fairly balanced. A very nice spread. Nothing too crazy, running out of control.
Yeah, I think it's just really interesting that we've gotten to this point where there is sort of a standout deck in the format. Like, let's be real, Water Aetherwing is definitely affecting how people need to enter into this format.
Yeah.
But it's not unbeatable, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to. Your choice is not Water Aetherwing or the one deck that beats Water Aetherwing.
It seems more like you can run whatever you want as long as whatever you want can stand up to Water Aetherwing in some regard.
Exactly. And the fact that the overall presence in day 2 matches up with the overall presence in day 1 really says that there is no standout performer. There is no one deck you need to be running in order to succeed.
Yeah, a lot of things
Very
go.
cool.
Very nice. Love to see it.
So let's talk about the archetype breakdown.
Yeah, how are we looking here?
And at this point, we're looking, I think, very similar to where we've been looking so far.
Yeah.
But it has evened out a bit more.
Just a bit. Just a bit.
We're seeing more mid-range presence, primarily due to Wind Crux doing a bit better.
Yep.
And we're seeing a little bit more control these
Yeah, more
days, just due to kind of Genbu and Water Exia.
Yeah. Not bad.
but it means that all of the archetypes are pretty well represented.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting to see. You know,
I love to see a good plateau.
Yeah.
On the archetype chart.
Yeah, absolutely. Aggro, of course, is just Diana.
Yep.
So the Water Aetherwing, that's all we got. In terms of tempo decks, there were 2 Water Allies decks, both running CL.
Yep.
And I think this is sort of a holdover from like, oh, look what won EU Nats.
Yeah, you can win with Water Allies. I can win with Water Allies.
And deck did decently well.
No, it did right.
Yeah, fine. Like I was saying before, with mid-range, we have 3 Lorraine Windcrux decks, 2 Fire Slimes decks, and 1 Fire Merlin. And this is kind of where we get into the like sample size business of like this plateau is relatively even, but it's also the difference between like 4 and 6 in a given column. So there's not a whole lot to work with here. But pretty even. We have Genbu and Water Exia and 1 Fractals deck in the control area.
Still there. Still doing well.
And of course, we have Dragon and Oblation and our 1 token Razorgale deck.
Oh, yes.
In the combo column.
Can't quite keep the Razorgale players down.
Absolutely.
So that is a pretty decent spread.
Yeah.
And we should talk a bit more about the pilots who really...
Absolutely, yeah. I think this really is the star of the show at this point. I'm gonna be harping on this the entire episode. The reason that anybody is here is because they are a good player.
Yes.
It's not the deck they brought, it's the skills they brought behind that deck.
Now, look no further than 25th place, Team True Caven, on a Luxem Seiryu deck. And when I say Luxem Seiryu deck, I mean there are no arcane cards beyond the Fate Stone. It's just a Luxem top end.
That is absolutely wild that he's bringing something this different, this off-meta.
It's Ayla, it's Fate Stones of Heaven, it's some Auspicious Manifestations, which are early game cards too, and 1 Uther holding it down.
Man. Caben doing some good work out here.
Yeah. Notably, this is probably enough Luxem cards where you can reliably flip that Fate Stone of Heaven and turn him into an actual beater of an ally if you really need to. And then suppress it again when you need to blow something up.
Yeah, it's very interesting, like the suppression stuff that's going on here.
Yeah.
Just the Ayla really, really powerful and definitely a dominating force in this
We
meta.
will continue to harp on this card because it is definitely one of the most breakout cards since the last event, and I think it will continue to be doing really good things. So,
and then, you can see like a decent chunk of the shell is very similar to the Influence Builder Dragon that Team 32 used a couple of events ago.
Definitely.
And you can kind of see the roots of this deck in that deck, but it's no longer relying on the Dragon combo. Instead, it's relying on the kind of utility elements that Wind is really famous for.
Yep.
And also Fate Stone of Heaven is pretty busted.
Pretty great. So that's really cool. In 23rd place, we have Ryusei on the 1 Merlin deck that made it into day 2. This is notably running the Prismatic Ascension package. We're typically just sort of seeing the Incarnate with the Majestic Spirit here. And he does have that in the sideboard. In fact, his sideboard is generally much more defensive, so it seems like he can switch over to more defensive style of play if he really, really wants to in those matchups where it really matters. This was kind of a rough one because I think he really needed it in his day 2 stream match when he was playing against Fire Slimes. I think that was a really tough one, but it's really cool to see sort of this like transformative sideboard almost sort of come in, so you can sort of adjust based on the matchup. So
I wonder if part of the decision making here was the expectation that like Diana didn't do quite as well at the previous event as people may have thought.
Yeah.
So maybe there's going to be less Diana in the field. And the fact that he made day 2 with most of his defenses in the sideboard, barring 2 Resolutes?
Like, just it's a much more, like, aggressive style of Merlin than I think we've been seeing materialize in sort of the earlier events this season. So
I love to see what he's doing, and I'm really interested. I would be really interested to hear what he thought about the meta that made him build this main and side.
Yeah, I would love to know, honestly. So, if any of you happen to know or friends with Yusei or Ryusei himself, please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. In 20th place, we have the Liftersill, the real Liftersill, on Windcrux Lorraine. And this is going to start sort of a block of deck text that I'm going to be talking about as we jump into this very windy section here. So Liftersill obviously loves the influence building types of decks. So it looks like he's definitely using a lot of the good value engine and win tricks here to sort of build a ton of influence. And the thing he wants to spend that influence on is Retribution, baby.
Heck yeah.
So a lot of Windcrux decks tend to run Spirit of Retribution in the sideboard. He's got 2 copies in the main board, and he's just slamming it down. Notably on stream, he built up a bunch of cards, he slammed down that Retribution, then the next turn he picked all his cards up and he slammed it again. And that's really hard to deal with after a while, because that thing is free.
Oh, I love this value engine. He's actually running 2 Gale Binds on top of the 3 Ayala's.
This is a lot of good work here. So there's just a lot of really cool stuff you can do here. So really, really curious to see if this version catches on, because this is a really sweet one. In 18th place, we have Glenny Boy, also on Wind Crux.
Okay, be real with me.
Yeah.
Did you include this list solely because he's running Apotheosis?
Right? I may have included this deck solely because of Apotheosis, right?
Apotheosis, right? A very neat card. If you have the ability to run it, you ought to.
If you happen to be blessed with this card, the one copy of this card, you should run it. I would run it. You kidding me? But really, this is just, further... This is a different type of Retribution build, really. This is a bit more... Has a few other tricks involved. It has a little bit of ability to turbo, sort of bring out other things. Notably, he's got a Palvor Sword in his material deck. No Looking Glass. So he's just planning to Ascension this out or Spirit Ruler it out.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yep, just if he needs to. So
one really interesting difference between this deck and Liftersil's deck.
Yes.
Liftersil had 2 Water Exalted cards.
Yes.
And Glenny Boy has 2 Fire Exalted cards.
Yes.
Which, what does that say about who you think you're going to be facing?
It's interesting meta call, but I also feel like Liftersil strikes you as a player who just loves to farm influence. So I think really just making sure you have the ability to draw cards whenever you resolve an Ascension is also pretty good. But I also feel like Glenny Boy's choice to run Fire in the main really just makes sense because, you're probably expecting a lot of water out there. So having the Fire in there is pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Not running any Retributions either, so kind of his win condition is going to be Ascension and Ghosts.
Yeah, it's just big value package up in here. So, a little bit of a different style here. In 16th place, we have Nathan on, you guessed it, Wind Crux Lorraine. And this one I'm highlighting because I think that Nathan has sort of honed in on what I believe are sort of the best picks for the off-element cards in this type of deck. So he is notably running 1 Fire Exalted card, the Alizarin Longbowman, and 1 Water Exalted card, the Chamberlain Toad. And if you look at these allies, these 2 allies have the highest power stats among allies in these 2 categories. And this is relevant because Spirit Blade Retribution, which admittedly he's keeping in the board, but at 2 copies, if he chooses to go down this route, Retribution gets plus X power, where X is the total power among ally, attack, and weapon cards in your banishment. So while you ideally don't want to banish your Fire and Water Exalted cards, if you so happen to, your Retribution is going to hit like a truck. And that's pretty nice.
You know what? I hadn't put that together, and that's super cool.
Yep. So if you are out there cooking Wind Crux, consider, if you will, the Frog and the Hot Archer Lady.
Absolutely.
Very cool. In 15th place, we have Caleb on Water Mill Gin, which I'm mainly calling out because this is the highest performing Water Gin in this event. And we're seeing a lot of really scary things. I mean, right down to the Spirit of Fortuitous Water. You can clearly tell this is inspired from Steve-O's list.
Yep.
It also has a Bauble of Abundance, which it can use to,
you have to
really pop. Yeah, just really go for that instant kill.
I do also appreciate that this is more hybridized than the pure water versions of this deck.
Yeah.
So it's running Enrage, it's running Outburst.
Yeah.
It definitely wants to keep the door open to killing its opponent the traditional way, rather than relying solely on Dynastic Whirlpool.
I honestly feel like this is kind of the sweet spot of where I would want this deck to be if I were playing it. Which I'm not. I'm not signaling anything.
Okay.
I'm not going to do. Of course not. Why would I? Anyway. No, we love threatening multiple attack vectors here. This does cause me to realize, though, who is running Fractal Waves in this format? Because I have been looking at some number of water decks, and I was expecting if any deck would run Fractal Waves, it would be this list. It is not.
Yeah. It seems like it could be. You'd have to make a little bit of room for it.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of room for drawing here. Like we're seeing stuff like Rictus Tiding.
There definitely
is.
But
I think the fact that Fractal of Waves is essentially a dead draw once you hit level 3.
Yeah.
Because once you're level 3, you still need a lot of velocity.
You do. There's a lot really that you need to sort of churn through at that point just to sort of get to your optimal situation. So.
And I mean, it's a water deck, so it's not going to be running Liminal either.
It's not.
But I would also feel the same way about Liminal Guide in this deck.
Yeah.
Because while it does smooth out your leveling process, if you draw it past level 3, it's dead.
It's true. It's true. So I'll be curious to see what ends up using Fractal Waves in the future, just because we were hyping that up to be the savior of water level 3 decks, and it's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, it's interesting. It definitely seems like a powerful effect, but it does need to find the right home.
Yeah. Now, if I'm completely tripping and you're like, Ken, the Fractal Waves is right there in this deck, like, please let me know, because I'm only one man. In 10th place, we have Holy Samurai 6121 on Fire Slimes. You can't keep a good slime down, especially when they're on fire.
The Holy Samurai, the savior of the slimes.
Yep.
Running the very important Hymn of Gaia's Grace.
Yes, very good card. I have missed seeing this card in lists. I think it's quite good. And we have a full raccoon package with bandits and protector raccoons, which are just terrifying with tamer support.
Oh, yeah. 3 bandits and 4 protector raccoons. Good numbers here.
Yep. So big congrats to Holy Samurai. And then in 9th place, we of course have to shout out another one of our California heroes, the Rain Goddess on Razor Gale. The top performing Razor Gale in this event. Obviously, the Rain Goddess has done quite a lot of reps on this deck and clearly paid off.
Yeah. And this is very much sort of the influence builder version of Razor Gale.
Yep.
So the I would argue more combo-y version, kind of building up resources, playing a little bit of control, especially with the full package of 4 bandits, 3 protectors, and then eventually comboing off with the potions kind of right when you need to. And the key difference here, the thing that I want to stress, is no Imperial Alchemists and only 2 speed potions. Right? Because you only need so many speed potions in order to make this work.
You have
and
so
those are
much
and those are much harder to brew than the distilled potions.
Yeah, the fact that you can just get this much card velocity just to find those 2 speed potions, and once you find them, you're doing your thing.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing, is it's gonna build up and build up and build up until it has the cards necessary to go off and defend itself really, really well until it gets there.
So fantastic work. And that'll talk about everything that we wanted to talk about below the line. So let's talk about the top 8.
Oh, yeah. Let's go straight into the top 8.
All right, in 8th place.
So what are we seeing here overall for the top 8?
So we have 5 unique decks, I would say. You know, obviously we have the 2 obvious favorites, the Seiryu and the Water Aetherwing, obviously showing more than once. But we also have, you know, a decent amount of health. Like, you know, we have a Water Allies that made it in here that topped. We have a Genbu that definitely did good work here, and we have an Oblation List that did good work here. So I'd say, like, we have a pretty good mix still. It may not be as diverse as some of the other top 8s we've had in recent memory, but it's not terribly stagnant either. Yeah,
and I think this once again sort of reflects the overall presence of decks in the field.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, it's 6 Water Diana Aetherwings, what you gonna do? You know, there's 2 Aetherwings, there's 3 Seryus, there's a Genbu, an Oblation, and a Water Allies. So we have, like, the 1 Fire deck, which is about right.
Yeah.
And then a smattering of Water decks, and a smattering of Wind decks, and it's like, yeah, okay. This is kind of what you'd expect given this field.
Yeah. It's also worth noting that the Seiryu decks that made it into top 8 are all rather distinct from each other. Seiryu notably has, like, sort of 2 main schools of thought that have sort of evolved over time, the Turbo Seiryu and the Influence Seiryu, and you sort of see sort of a variety of decks that have been on that sliding scale. And we can illustrate it really best starting with the 8th place list, KLVR.
Yeah, let's take a look.
On Wind Seiryu. So this is a more turbo list. We have 3 Harness Lightnings, 3 Seryus commands, 4 Byaku's commands. Very, very fast package here.
Bunch of Exalted cards, too.
A lot of Exalted,
the Imperial Countermeasures, the Royal Oath Guard.
Definitely.
Very cool.
Not quite as heavy as some of the other lists. I know some of those also run the, like, Heavenly Fate Stone. But there's still, like you mentioned, the Oath Guard and the Imperial Countermeasures definitely give it a good, like, high top end, which is really, really relevant here. And it's meant to go fast. It's really just meant to turbo out and sort of take you out. A lot of good tricks in the board, too, if you wanted to talk about advanced element cards. We've got Regal Inquisitions, we've got Noble Dissolutions, we've got Psychopalm Scales, we have an Uther. Like, this is going to go to the top and it's going to do whatever it can. It's a big toolbox just to keep you down.
Yeah, I mean, all the usual win tricks, so kind of nothing unexpected there.
Yeah.
But definitely intending to get to 3 as fast as possible and then just start taking advantage of the, reliquary sort of card engine and really play really powerful cards until the opponent keels over.
Just ingesting what you need. Also, 2 Morgans in the board.
Yeah, why not?
So, if you're worried about those abnegations, among other things.
Or the
gins,
and
the
Shameless Priestesses.
Yeah, the Priestesses, the Pearl Prayers, you're set. So, really cool deck. This is a nail biter in the quarterfinals, I'll tell you that much. More on that. In 7th place, we have Zaleonitis on Water Aetherwing Diana. This is a pretty straightforward Water Aetherwing list.
Yeah, not seeing anything particularly upsetting.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely have a bit of control here. You have a good 7 negate package. You also have some Drown in Ether, so this is honestly running a little bit more with the defensive tricks than you might expect. It's also got a Rude Unbroken Mustang as a one-of in the board there, but otherwise it's kind of your traditional Water Aetherwing package.
Interestingly, down to 1 reposition in order to make sure that there's enough water, so filling it out with tactical retreats and other advantages.
Which I think makes a lot of sense, Not necessarily too many allies that you can also sort of double up on with that, so I think it kind of makes sense. I'm kind of also liking this trend of 8 of Spades continuing to show up in some way, shape, or form in decks. In this case, we have 2 in the sideboard. So, having a 3-4 for 4 is not bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Win does that all the time.
Of course. We love it. So big congrats to Zaleonitis here. In 6th place, we have Pulse on another Win Seru list. And if you miss the Win Seru decks of old, look no further than Pulse's list, because this is very traditional. 4 commands for Seru, 4 commands for Byakko, 4 Harness Lightnings. The really only new things here are the 2 Aylas and the 4 Auspicious Manifestations, but otherwise it's a lot of the sort of classic tricks that we see.
Yeah, this is not a deck that goes wide. This is not a deck that builds up.
Yeah.
This is a deck that goes to 3 as soon as possible.
Yep.
And if you are not well defended at that exact moment, you are not long for this world.
It is gonna hit you with a big thing, and it's also really making sure that you're not able to defend yourself with stuff like the Nullifying Mirrors to really just make sure that you can't veil or anything like that. Orb of Sealing, because obviously Oblation does exist and will blow you up, so you have to be prepared. And then just more Ayla, more Regals. Some good stuff in here.
Yeah, I do love that top end.
Yeah. This is a nice classic top end. This is kind of what I kind of miss the pure Seru, There's a lot of good tricks and tools going together, but sometimes you just want a nice pure list here. So congrats to Pulse. In 5th place, we have Yamikin on Water Ally CL. So sort of discarding the Wake Up list of old and sort of taking on a new coat of paint here. Yeah. So here we have a lot of things we're used to seeing from this deck. We have, most notably, the Raccoon package is a little bit different because he's got Portly Raccoons.
Oh, that's real neat.
Yeah. So this is a little bit more fun because it's got a bit more of a board presence. It's a good 2-3, which is aggressive. It also has the ability to sort of let you keep up with that Raccoon strategy and banish cards from their graveyard. So that's really nice. Then you got all the classics, the classic Water Ally stuff. Notably, Inspiring Call on the board. So if you want to be a little more aggressive with your traditionally defensive package, you can. It's nice. Pretty cool.
I mean, otherwise this is sort of what you'd expect from Water Allies, right? It's got Raying, it's got the bigger sort of guardian-y kind of allies.
Yeah. Tweedledee obviously continued to do a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So very good stuff here. Love to see it. In 4th place, we have Limelight on Fire Oblation. This man was actually one of my picks for taking this whole event. He had the confidence.
Really well.
He did fantastic. So this is a bit of a different package. I'm not going to go into super huge detail on this event just because Limelight and the Creative Shot guys put out their own deck tech in which he goes down through this deck in great detail along with his tournament results, so I'd recommend checking that out. I'm going to call it a few things that I thought were really cool though. So we're traditionally like to joke about sort of the number of bricks that Oblation runs, so it's going to be 8 bricks, 10 bricks, or my favorite, the Hachiko special, the 12 bricks.
Sure.
Limelight says, y'all are crazy. 4 bricks.
4 bricks.
And
he's also running 3 Pouvoir.
Yes, the Pouvoir is an interesting one.
The Pouvoir is like a half brick.
The Pouvoir is a half brick because you can actually play that card. And in fact, he actually had a matchup in mind with this, specifically for Water Djinn, because if you resolve this, then basically you can Resolute and Foe Awakening just to hell and back on their turn.
Yeah, everything is free.
And everything's free. So that's pretty cool. Also, the Extorting Blackjack, which I love because, as he mentioned on his video, Blackjack into Foe Awakening, when a lot of your omens are 3 cost, that's a pretty good way to do 20 damage.
Yeah.
So we like that. Otherwise, like, I could talk your off about all these things, but I would just recommend checking out his list, which we will link in the description of this video.
Yep, sounds like
So
fun.
big shout outs to Limelight. I sincerely hope we see this in the Gauntlet. But we'll see what happens there. In third place, we have Curtilius, also of the Creative Shock folks, on Water Genbu. Here, I think we have a pretty straightforward Genbu list.
Yeah.
The one thing I will call out is he has a Desperate Dive in the sideboard, kind of one we didn't think about. So he also has a deck tech for this video on the Creative Shock channel. So I think we will link that also as well, so you can go through.
Yeah, interestingly, I think this is more of a like a tournament story vlog kind of thing than like a deck tech.
Yeah, not a deck, because you've seen this deck before, right? It's pretty classic.
Genbu is not a surprise.
Yeah, but we'll link it just for the sake of completion, just so
absolutely.
you can hear his tournament experience and maybe get something out of that. But otherwise, yeah, congrats to Kurt. Looks pretty good. In second place, we have Dennis Yao, one of the great Water Aetherwing players. And well, I won't say that this list is anything particularly special. I will say I think that my understanding from watching Dennis Yao play over the course of the event is like his gameplay really like escalated and evolved as the tournament progressed. So like you'll hear about this on Limelight's report, but like he fought Dennis Yao, won handily, ran into him again at top 8, thought he was going to be totally fine. Dennis Yao totally changed his game and like took him out. And so like,
which really says a lot about the skill level of Dennis Yao as a player.
Exactly. You really have to be prepared to do those different lines in these situations.
Yeah, not only familiar with his deck, but also like such a quick learner, right?
Yeah.
One match in against this Oblation list, and all of a sudden he knows how to take it apart.
He just locks it and figures it out. That's not to say the deck is entirely without praise, because there are a few cheeky things here, namely overlapping visages in the board. In some of these matchups, that means having that knowledge that's in there makes you play the matchup very differently.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, but I got to give a huge shout out to Dennis. This guy is constantly crushing it. And so, obviously, huge one here. But, in spite of all the praise we lapped on, there could only be one. And in first place, we have Sano on Wind Seiryu.
Heck yeah.
This is sort of the TM32 influence building Seiryu that you've come to know and love.
Yeah, 3 turbocharges is like, okay, I see what you're doing
that's
here.
That's a good indicator. But that being said, this has made a concession towards the turbo angle. Even though it only has 2 Series commands, 3 Harness Lightnings, 3 Balcos commands, it also has 3 Beseech the Winds.
Yep.
So it can go fast if it needs to, and then there were some cases where it really needed to. But,
Beseech the Winds is actually a really interesting choice. I think it's really interesting when decks decide between Beseech the Winds and Beseeching Fatestone.
Yeah.
Because it really says something about what the deck is going for. And I think in this case, Beseech the Winds makes more sense because they're not trying to build up a huge board presence necessarily.
Yeah.
They're just trying to keep themselves going, and the economy in Beseech the Winds is so much better.
It really is. And like, yeah, there's some cases where like just you can't necessarily run out of dungeon guide because like the Dianas will frozen dismissal you, or sort of the non-level 3 wind decks will try to pull out a Stifling Gyre. So like Beseech the Winds is really a nice sort of fallback to have there. So that's really nice.
Absolutely.
And then this top end is just crazy. So in addition to the usual arcane, arcane dragon tricks, we've got Aylas, we've got Fate Stones of Heaven, we have Optical Control.
I love this card.
Main deck did some good things with this. I got wrecked by this thing at Store Champs.
I believe it.
Courtesy of our own local hero, Sky Sama. He played this thing, he named actions, I was like, I'm not casting any spells. That's a problem. And then he's got a one of Uther, because Uther is just great.
I mean, Uther and the Fate Stones are just such absolute beaters with Ayala as backup.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
Also, if you happen to run into those big influence builder lists, you have Blinding Lapse on the sideboard. Just rip that influence right out of their hands. If you watch this finals match live, I know at the time of this recording, the VOD is kind of being adjusted, or the VOD was cut off, so you can't necessarily watch it now. Hopefully they'll re-upload it, but like this was one of the most nail-biting finals matches I've ever seen at an event. Like the amount of back and forth between Sano and Dennis was just insane, but you could just really tell that like these are two players that really know their decks and know the matchups, and they just know that there are these just very like outside of the box lines that they have to take in order to have a shot at getting these matchups.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The way they maneuver that was just really, really impressive. So big congrats to Sano. I think this is like one of his first big events that he's won. So this is really sweet. I'm looking forward to seeing him at Worlds.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's it.
Yep.
For OCE Nats.
Fantastic list of decks.
Fantastic list of decks.
Fantastic list of players, honestly.
Obviously, huge.
So what do you think is the takeaway from this? Now that we've seen this, now that we've seen sort of this new iteration of the meta in action, what are we learning here?
It feels like a lot of the same decks, but just very different feels to how they are built and how they are executed.
Yeah.
You know? That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, this feels like the meta is getting to the point in its evolution where there's not any new breakouts. There's not any one thing that is the most important thing. Instead, it's taking the deck that you're comfortable with and tailoring it to the situation that you're finding yourself in, and then just playing it well.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely, this is very much a sign for y'all to keep at it, keep refining the decks that you are enjoying.
Yeah.
It seems like nothing is truly out of the running.
Absolutely.
You know?
I think the big lesson to be learned here is make sure that whatever deck you're running is capable of dealing with the things that more people are bringing.
Yep.
Right? So it's not that Aetherwing Diana is the most important deck in the format.
Yeah.
But it
popular.
is the deck that is popular, and you need to be able to beat it if you're going to make it all the way up.
Yep.
So make sure that whatever deck you're running, you have that extra sort of defensive tools to deal with this particular deck.
Yeah.
And if in whatever your local meta is, you know there's a deck that's going to be more popular, be that Windcrux or Seiryu or Genbu or wherever you are, you can tailor your deck, whatever your deck is, to have a few more answers for that situation.
Yep.
And that sounds like the best way to make it forward in this current meta.
Yep. I mean, it could be, if you're looking at the larger scale, it's probably Water Aetherwing, it's probably Seiryu, it's probably going to be Windcrux. But your local meta, take note of what people are running and plan accordingly.
Absolutely.
And that will do it for us talking about OCE Nats, which brings us to the Endphase. And I know, Jim, you were excited to have an answer for me about what you've been up to. So I don't want to leave you completely hanging.
Well,
Before we go on to the main topic.
no, so what I've been up to is actually the same thing that everybody else has been up to. I've been playing Windcrux.
Oh, yes. Tell me about your Windcrux experience as someone who wants to play.
I came out of Ascent Las Vegas
Yes.
being like, hey, Slimes was fun, but I just want to play Ayala.
Yeah.
And
I
it definitely
respect that.
seems like Windcrux is the deck to do it in.
Yeah, I would believe that.
No shade on Guoja players or people that like dragons, but I definitely want to swing with a big sword.
Yeah.
That's where I want to be.
There is something just pure and simply joyful about just doing a big old cleave.
So I took Windcrux to locals.
Yeah.
And I was not able to cast a single Ayala or Spirit Blade Retribution.
Gosh darn it. It does be that way.
It does be
that way.
But I had a ton of fun on the deck, and I definitely see what people are talking about.
Love it. Love it. Well, I look forward to seeing you cook that a bit more.
Yeah.
I am just trying to decide what I'm playing next, honestly.
Okay.
I don't know what it could be. It might be this Water Djinn, now that I'm thinking about it. It could be Seiryu. It could be something completely out of left field.
I think that whatever deck I am playing next is going to include SP4 Dream Fairies.
Oh, yes. Yes. That we should talk about that in more detail because, yes, Supporter Pack 4 has been announced. And with it come a bunch of new fun reprints. And,
Absolutely, yeah.
there are a lot of these that I am very excited for. I think there are a lot of them that you are very excited for. So,
As it turns out. Yeah, so the overall, like, there's just some really, really cool arts in SP4.
Yes.
Like, I think the new art for Bolt of Diamonds is
Yes.
really fantastic.
yes.
And I
think what we have to do is we have to do a little bit of a lightning round.
Okay, sure.
All right. So, favorite uncommon.
My favorite uncommon has got to be Brisk Windtrotter.
Brisk Windtrotter? I
Yeah.
do appreciate Sylviana Horse.
Right?
I think that's really nice.
Just the fact that Sylvie is riding Side Saddle is just so Sylvie.
It's very Sylvie. I think this is adorable. Honestly, I think this is great. For me, it's Thronekeeper Bullfrog.
Oh, yeah, that smug face.
Look at
at
that
him.
smug expression on this guy.
Absolutely.
That guy came to party. He's not messing around. Love that.
All right, rares, let's go.
Favorite rare? There are a lot here that I could choose, but I gotta give a shout out to my girl with Poised Occlusion.
Ooh, okay.
I love the chains flowing through this thing. I sort of love that sort of dark, sort of starry sky behind it. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
For me, it is unfortunately Rictus Tiding.
Oh no, this one's good. I like this one a lot.
Look, most of the time, I can see a pretty anime girl and be like, yes, that is a pretty anime girl.
Yeah.
And I can be stoic.
Right.
I can be unmoved.
Right.
And for whatever reason, this particular iteration of Cheshire Cat has me weak in the knees.
You know what? I get it. You know, clearly she's up to no good. Clearly. All right. Favorites. SR.
I mean, I did say Dream Fairy. The answer is still Dream Fairy.
The answer is Dream Fairy. Yep.
It's just such a clean art. And I really appreciate that with the way that, like, you know, all of these arts are absolutely gorgeous, right? I can't take away anything from any of these, but I appreciate the simplicity of this art.
Yeah. No, it's quite nice. Very whimsical, too. Really. This one's a tough one for me.
Okay.
There are a lot of really good ones here. I am really partial to the water cards here. I think the Mordred Tidal Sweep is awesome.
Yeah, he's so strong in that picture. That's great.
I actually love the Quiet Refraction expression.
I was actually going to pick Quiet Refraction.
It was close to me.
So like, if it's not Quiet Refraction,
it's got to be Three of Hearts. Ooh. Look at this design with all these swirls and just the cards flying everywhere. Also, the fact that it's just a very high value reprint. Yeah, I think the Three of Hearts is just awesome.
It is a very cool card, and it's only going to get more popular, I think, as time goes on.
Oh yeah, and then here's the spicy one: favorite CSR.
Oh, favorite CSR is an easy Mad Tea Party.
Oh, Mad Tea Party's looking great.
Just look at those girls having such a great time, and Xander sitting on the corner being like, "Why am I here?"
Being like, "I was invited. I cannot eat anything. Nothing here." For me, there's only one obvious answer, and that is, of course, the best card in this entire set, Pang Tong, Young Phoenix. I'm kidding. You know, I believe it was Liftersill who mentioned this while I was in earshot, but Pang Tong actually reads not prevent 3 damage when damage is dealt to a unit. It's prevent all but 3 damage to a unit.
Oh, it's like Crystallized Destiny, but bad.
Yeah, so...
What a fascinating card.
Yeah. So this card got a little bit worse for me, which is impressive considering it already doesn't really see play. It's a shame. I kind of wish it did.
How is this an advanced element card?
I don't know. Anyway, my pick is not an advanced element. It's Lily Marine Castellan.
Sure.
Because look at that regal look.
Oh,
it's fantastic, right? I would love to see more chest support just so that I have an excuse to play this. Or maybe I just play Water Allies for a hot minute. Who knows? Either way.
I could see you doing that.
I could do that. Really, we gotta give it a shout out to MDO13, who I think is sort of the prime Water Allies player in our local testing group. I think if anyone's gonna nail it, it's gonna be him.
Sure.
But maybe I'll take some lessons from him and figure it out. But yeah, overall, we are very excited for Supporter Pack 4.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be a lot of cool stuff to get here. Good luck to all of you if you are going to an event that sells SP4, I hope you all pull whatever you are hoping to pull. If you don't, I will buy all of your Cosmic Bolts so that you can buy more.
There you go.
There you are. That will do it for us this week. We will, of course, be back to talk about Southeast Asia Nationals, which is coming up in just a hot minute. And I think that will probably be a very big event. I think a lot might go down there. Jim, any predictions? Any hot takes?
Are we going to see yet another completely different deck in the first place slot?
I hope so. I hope it is not only a different deck, but is a deck that has never been seen before in a major competitive event.
I mean, this would be the time to break that out.
Yeah.
This is sort of the last option.
This is the biggest one, right?
SEA, I feel like if any region, out of all of the regions that people play Grand Archive in, this is the region that is most likely to have a Merlin in the finals.
I agree. I think we'll see at least one Merlin in the top 8. I think we'll probably see a Water Diana as well. We'll probably also see a Seiryu.
I think that is a very safe prediction.
These are very safe predictions, but I want at least one deck in the top 8 that has never been seen on the day 2 of an event.
That would be sick.
That would be great. Sick. That would be great. What could that be? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I look forward to being surprised.
Yeah.
So that will be that for us. As always, a big shout out to everyone who made Oceania Nationals possible, and for all the players from California, and also just all the local players who managed to go and make the event what it was. I look forward to seeing many of you run it back in the Gauntlet and in Worlds itself. So,
for everybody listening, drop us a comment. Let us know what your favorite SP4 card is.
Yes, we need to know. So, if we run into you in person and we have some extras, we can be like, hey,
Absolutely.
is this your card? So, with that being said, thank you, as always, for listening to the Corhazi Outlook. Tune in to our next episode where we'll be breaking down OCE Nats. And until then, take care.
Take care.